All right, welcome to that Synth Car Thursday morning. We're back. I'm thirsty. It's Thirsty Thursday. We got not much happening on the synth news this morning. I did a quick check and didn't come across anything super exciting. A lot of Moog Mariana news. We got comment gate going on in the Moog synthesizer world. They released their Moog Mariana promo video, and they deleted all their negative comments, which is, I don't know, that's kind of weird, but it's all good. It's their channel, so they can do what they want. But they deleted all their negative comments, only leaving positive comments. I guess they're trying to sell a product, so maybe that's something they feel like they got to do to keep it going. But like I said earlier, I think just leave it all up, man, and let people fight for you, and they can see it. And if your product is good and it stands the test of time, then negative comments ain't going to stop you from selling. But anyway, what I want to talk about real quick before I get to work is, I was talking to a friend last night on the phone, Synth Punk, and he called me super excited, so I got super excited. I was matching that energy, because when people are pumped, I get pumped up too. And he was like, man, you got to hear this Moog Mariana soft synth. I was like, all right, man, let's hear it. So he turned it on, blasted it. It was through the phone. I was like, wow. He was like, this sounds better. He might have even said this sounds better than the actual mini Moog, but don't quote me on that. He might have said it sounds better than another plug-in or something, maybe. But anyways, he was like, this thing sounds amazing. And he was like, for $50, you got to get it, brother. I was like, man, I was thinking about getting it because I just like want to try it, but a lot of people are telling me that there's way better soft synths out there to get. But I don't think this has had a chance really to seep into the soft synth world and people to explore it properly, because I think it sounds great and it's very deep. Now, but the whole idea of the conversation, we drifted into kind of synthesizer concept talk and brainstorming how Moog could really take advantage of this new entry into the VST synthesizer game. Because reading through the comments, I took the gauge and took the temperature, and it seemed that there was a lot of old school Moog fans who were hating on this thing. Okay, that makes sense. But then there seemed like a lot of new people to Moog, a lot of new people who've never used Moog, customers maybe, who were like very excited about this thing. They actually loved how it sounded, and they thought it was very cool. So it was a good dichotomy of where the temperature is, and I was like, all right, how can Moog really thread the needle here with this synthesizer? And we started brainstorming. What we came up with was a MIDI controller, not the Key Stage, not the Key Lab, not the Key Step Pro, none of those things, because they all look the same. What Moog could come out and do is they could come out and release a MIDI controller that actually looks like a Moog synthesizer. Now think about this for a couple seconds before you jump over to Samurai. Think about this. They could release a MIDI controller that, say, looks like a Subsequent 37, or even a pop-top MIDI controller that looks like the mini Moog, okay? Or if you guys don't know what that looks like, it looks like a Poly D or a Mono Poly. You know, it's got the flip top. I'm sure all you guys know what it looks like. It's the most famous synthesizer image ever. So put out a MIDI controller that actually looks like a Moog synthesizer. You can even put some wood on it. We hashed out some numbers. We were like, sell it for $500. But the key of this is to develop your VSTs around your MIDI controller. So you make the MIDI controller with enough knob per function settings on the hood, where when you put out the Moog Mariana, you can have 3 pages, and on the MIDI controller you can have like page 1, page 2, page 3. You can have a little button that sequences. So every time you change a page on your VST, the page MIDI maps to the knob per function on your controller, right? So say you had a red button, page 1, blue, they shine blue, yellow for page 3, 3 pages or something, and there was lights that lit up the knob so you knew what page you were on. And then you start designing your soft synths around this MIDI controller. So you could take an old school Moog guy who's got the mini Moog, he's got the Moog 1, he's got the Subsequent, he's got all the Moogs. His house is like covered in Moog synthesizers. His mailbox is a Moog synthesizers it opens up. So even a guy like that could get excited about VSTs, because I feel like where we're missing the synergy between VST and synthesizer is that guys like me, for example, who love playing on hardware, I don't like computers. I don't like using a computer to control a synthesizer. But if you were to sell me a $500 authentic looking Moog synthesizer that was MIDI mapped and knob per function controllable like a subsequent 37 style layout that matched these VSTs for $50, man, you could make unlimited cash, and I think people would be excited about it. You just keep releasing cool synthesizers for $50, and that brings in a whole new customer base. That new customer base gets to actually feel like they're on a Moog synthesizer, because that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants that because they got a beautiful design. You can't ever say that Moog doesn't have beautiful looking synthesizers. They do, you know, just like Teenage Engineering has beautiful looking toys. They look good aesthetically. So we were talking and we were like, man, then you could use the Moog Mariana as the template, and then you don't really design your VSTs outside of, okay, we've got our MIDI controller that's amazing, it looks amazing, knob per function, can switch pages, there's no guts, it's just a MIDI controller, so you can make it really cheap. Then you start designing your VSTs just to match and like I said, you can have 5 pages of function as long as you keep the knobs and the layout congruent with the knobs on the MIDI controller. And you can have the MIDI controller page 2, maybe the lights only light up where the knobs are useful on that page, kind of like the System 8 from Roland did, kind of, you know, something like that. And we came up with a name. We were like, call this thing the Moog Chameleon. And that's a cool name because it can adapt and change to its environment. So every time that you put a VST in there, the Moog Chameleon changes to that VST. And I think the sky's the limit. Synthpunk thinks the sky's the limit. We were even talking about doing like a podcast show style together where we were just gonna like brainstorm ideas like crazy, because it was fun. We were both getting excited. It was super fun. So anyway, that's the idea for the morning. The Moog Chameleon, an authentic subsequent 37 and or mini Moog style MIDI controller. So first of all, their MIDI controller is going to look like no other MIDI controller. Right there, you've got a hook for people. Also, it will look like a Moog synthesizer. That will get the new customers into the game and excited about Moog, and they like VSTs. So they can have one MIDI controller that looks like a Moog, and they can use it for all their other VSTs too. I think it's worth exploring. I think if there's anyone from Moog out there thinking about or listening to this, write down what I'm saying, take this video, make notes, take it into your manager, your supervisor at Moog, or your next like brainstorming meeting. Take the idea as your own. It's yours now, and bring it up to your boss. And I think you're about to get a big fat raise. Anyways, that's Thirsty Thursday. That's Synthcar. You guys have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. The weekend is coming. We love it. And that's it, and that's all. I just released a couple songs last night back in the saddle. Did a couple jams. If you're into that, enjoy them. They don't get a lot of clicks, but people like them, man, and they're fun to do. And like I was telling someone last night, it gives me an energy reset and a big boost because I get to bathe in those sonic sunshine. All right, so you guys have a great day. That's Synthcar. Shoo, shoo.